Welcome to your Platform Q learning experience. This video will introduce you to the Connectivity Workbench application and how to create a connection to an ERP system. In our example, we are going to connect an SAP ERP system. Furthermore, there are a couple of learning objectives that we want to achieve. The learning objectives are: what can the Connectivity Workbench do? How Platform Q connects to an ERP system? How to create a template for an SAP ERP connection. How to create a connection to an SAP ERP system with user credentials. The Connectivity Workbench is the application you can use to read the metastructure of a source system. A source system can be an ERP system, a database, a web service, or a file. This learning video will focus on how to connect an ERP system with Platform Q. Any source system contains metastructure. The metastructure describes a function module, a database table, or a file. The actual data will not be loaded via the creation of the connection. Only the metastructure will be made transparent on Platform Q. Which metastructure is made transparent will only be visible according to the permissions a user has within the connected source system. The catalog of read and write services will be made transparent in two different applications. All read services will be available within the data sources application. All write services will be made available within the API writer application. One critical aspect when it comes to connect ERP systems are permissions. Platform Q reuses the permission framework of source systems to make sure that only authorized users can read data and write data from the source system to Platform Q and vice versa. The following chart shall help you to understand the process behind the principle of reusing permission frameworks. First of all, we add credentials from a user of the source system that has the required permissions to access data for a use case. Afterwards, Platform Q starts to read the repository of the ERP system. The metastructure is displayed on Platform Q. Only the metadata the user is allowed to see will be displayed. Additional resources such as function modules can also be used, for instance read and write services. The data itself remains within the source system. Each execution of a Q object triggers either read or write services. The data will be displayed on Platform Q. Platform Q uses the application layer of each business system to guarantee successful read and write processes. After we have discussed how Platform Q handles permissions, we have to have a look at system templates. The connection to a source system requires information about the system itself. Any ERP system that is about to be connected with Platform Q requires a template with specific system information. Let's jump into Platform Q. We are going to open the Connectivity Workbench. In our example, we are going to add information about an SAP ERP. Click on Add Template and select the SAP ERP System template. We have to add an instance number and a client. Furthermore, we have to add a host name. Another configuration you can make is to determine whether you can read from a connected system or you can write into it. This can be accomplished via read enabled, disabled, or write enabled, disabled. Set a name for the SAP ERP template and click on the floppy disk button to save the template configuration. In order to connect to an SAP ERP, some function modules need to be enabled within the user you want to use. Speak to your Q-nnect contact person to accomplish this step. Usually, this step will be also accomplished with the IT department of the customer. After the creation of an SAP ERP template, you can add credentials of your source system user. Click on the plus button to create a new Q object. Select the SAP ERP template you just created. Now, add username and password of your source system user. Sometimes additional information is also required, in this case the language. Click on the floppy disk button and wait until the initialization process is complete. This process takes about 30 seconds to 1 minute. The display turns green and returns a timestamp. This timestamp shows you when the system was initialized. Initialized means that the metastructure of the source system and the virtualized metastructure on platform Q are the same. If there is a change of metastructure within the source system, platform Q recognizes this and requires another initialization. Let's summarize what we have learned so far. You have learned that the Connectivity Workbench enables you to connect one or more source systems with platform Q. Furthermore, you have learned that the data will remain within the source system. The data of the source system will not be loaded on platform Q during the connection process. The user selects single function modules and executes them each time he hits the execute button. This will display the data of the source system for a single moment. The creation of a connection requires a template and user credentials. Moreover, you have learned that the platform Q user can only access data that the source system user has a permission for. Thank you very much for your attention. We hope that you have enjoyed this learning experience with platform Q.